up today on Davisville, the blues with Guitar Mac McNally. Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening. This is Davisville on KDRT-LP 95.7 FM in Davis, California. KDRT.org if you're listening online. And thanks for tuning in. Well, my guest today is Guitar Mac McNally, a blues musician you might have seen playing at the Davis Farmers Market. He lives in Sacramento. He plays solo, plays in bands, and he's here today to talk about the blues. So let's get right to it. This has been fun setting this one up. Mr. McNally, thanks for coming by Davisville.
Yes. Okay, you're welcome.
So let's just start right with it. You know, you play in a band, you play solo. What draws you to play the blues?
Well, I've been playing the blues probably since I was a kid, you know. And I used to have a bunch of guitars when I was a kid, and they always hurt my fingers and everything. And so when I got old enough to buy a guitar, then I could get a good one. Then I just kept, playing on, because I started out in Arkansas way back.
Yeah, now, you were telling me you're from Arkansas, though you came to the Bay Area in 68, I think?
1968, right.
So you're kind of, like a lot of Californians, you're kind of a hybrid. You're from someplace else, but you spent most of your life here.
Yeah, we all migrated here from some other place.
So what about the blues as a form? I mean, why, in the 60s, people were playing rock, they're playing all sorts of things. What drew you to the blues?
Well, I played the blues because that was what I heard all the time when I was a kid. Like, we used to have, like, fish fries. My stepfather used to have those, and we used to have people over, and guys playing guitar, and they would play slide guitar. And so I always wanted to play like that, play that kind of music, and
so that's just what you heard.
Yeah, and that's just what I heard, So it's kind of like a feeling thing, from your heart, Yeah. You don't really copy after anybody, you just try to pick up some licks. Now I had a friend that played a little harmonica, and that didn't work out for me. Well, I did that a little bit, but then he also played piano. He said, well, you can see everything on the keyboard, so that's easy to play, and so, but then I still like the idea of the guitar because you can carry it around,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and in fact, and I'll tell us to the audience, you've got your dobro here in the studio with you. We're going to play a little bit here in a minute.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'm not going to, you're going to play. You're the guy who knows how to play it. I want to talk a little bit more about the blues. I was reading, trying to define it. People talk about its origins and, excuse me, spirituals, work songs, call and response, the African-American experience, How do you define it?
Well, blues is kind of like a thing that came from the fields, people working in the fields and stuff like that, working hard. And so when you're working hard out there, you would sing a tune while you're working, either whistle or something like that, and it's just a thing that everybody just do, in the South, you sing, you try to play, or either you go to church, and like you hear a lot of church music and stuff like that, and that's kind of where you get your rhythm and stuff like that from, All
right. Well, one of the songs, actually, I'd like to play a little bit from one of your CDs. You were telling me you got like 30 CDs.
I got 20 CDs on iTunes.
20 CDs, so prolific. But this is from a CD you've got called the River City Shuffle, and this is this song, I'm Guilty. And to me, the blues come from everyday life, and there's just something about the style. And I think you hear it in the song. It just comes straight from the heart.
If loving you is a crime, baby, then I'm guilty. There's nothing else in the world I can do. If loving you is a crime, then I'm guilty, darling. There's nothing else in the world I can do. Out of all the good women in the world today, baby, why did I have to fall in love with you?
Yeah, so that's you singing, right?
Yeah, that's me doing the vocals, singing, yeah.
And you wrote that song, too.
That's kind of a copy off of, I believe, a Lonnie Johnson tune that I did, a copy between that one, yeah.
Okay.
And so, and it's way back, so, and usually I just put my own thing in it, so that was where I got the idea from, when I did something like that, you know.
So, but I guess I hear a song like that, and, you know, anybody who's ever, I don't know, felt in love, not in love, wanted to be in love.
Fell in love with the wrong person.
Yeah, exactly. You hear that in that song, you know?
Yeah,
and I think the blues has that quality. It kind of comes from experience.
Yeah, from experience, right? You know, because the blues is truth, you know, which is every day what happens every day in life, you know?
Yeah. So you've played in Davis quite a few times. You've played at the farmer's market.
Oh, yes. I've been playing in Davis now almost, believe it, almost 30 years. Seemed like it, you know.
30 years.
Yeah, when you think about how long. That's why I say time flies, you know. And so I see Street Market and played, and I also played like some of the Wednesday concerts, you know, Picnic in the Parks for Davis and stuff like that. And I used to play some of the clubs around Davis too back in the day for a while, but they kind of come and go, you know.
Yeah. Davis has talked about that, you know, needing more venues for live music. There's lots of places where you can play, but not a lot of established clubs.
Yeah, right.
In town right now. I don't know, honestly, if anyone could say there's any, although maybe I'm overlooking something.
They got more musicians than they have clubs.
Yeah. So I'm curious, you know, what kind of songs get a good response in Davis? You know, I always like to ask Davis questions on this show. Is it...
Well, like when I do the C Street Market thing, you know, I tend to kind of just do pretty much me anyway, but it's amazing. I get a good response. You know, people really like what I do. You know, I'll do Blue Suede Shoes. I'll do Good Rockin' Tonight, stuff like that. And I'll do, you know, I'll do some old Delta stuff, you know, like a Lead Belly song or something like that, you know, and more traditional you do, the better Davis like it, you know.
Okay. Maybe it's, I mean, you're very approachable, too, at the market. I mean, that's how I met you. I just came up and said, I like that music and want to appear on the show. But, you know, I'm sure you played a lot of different venues and such over the years, and I'm always curious to know how musicians view Davis versus, say, playing in, I don't know, Sacramento.
Yeah, Davis, to me, I think Davis is like San Francisco.
Yeah?
You know, that's what it reminds me a lot like. You know, like if you're playing on the streets of San Francisco, Davis is pretty much the same, you know. And
so now you're going to be playing in Davis again this summer, right? I think you were saying...
yes, on the 27th of July, me and the band. And so, in fact, I'll be there twice coming up June solo, like that, you know, something like that. So.
And what do you call your band?
Blues Express.
The Blues Express, yeah.
Guitar Mac Blues Express. So.
All right. You know, music crosses barriers, and we were talking about this a little bit ahead of the show. Years ago, when I was in college, I heard Buka White, you know, the Delta bluesman, play up on stage, playing an steel guitar like yours, I think, if I recall it correctly.
Right, steel guitar, yeah.
And, you know, I didn't know what to expect. You know, I'd gone with friends. I'd grown up listening to the Beatles and the Beach Boys, and I loved what he played. And after the show, I guess I felt like I'd learned something. And I'm wondering, you know, does music have that power to explain ourselves?
Yeah, because he had actually a song that he called Jelly Roll Bacon Man, you know. Chon, you know. And he was just you could tell that he really played from his heart. He played what he felt, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, by him being an uncle of B.B. King, too, so. But he was never like B.B. King. See, B.B. King really didn't play a lot of chords, you know. That's why he had the big band behind him, you know, to do all that other stuff, and he just do the lead and the vocals, you know. So there
was a different style there, you're saying?
Yeah, there's a different style, yeah, right, you know. And it's called urban, you know. You could call that urban blues, and then one is Delta blues, you know.
And so White was more of the Delta blues.
More Delta blues, right, yeah. And B.B. King is more urban blues, you know.
You know, and I felt like, and again, partly it was me just being a teenager, being 18, and I just hadn't really heard any Delta blues, certainly not live before. When I heard that, I felt like I came away thinking the world seemed like a little bit of a larger, more interesting place since I'd heard it. Yeah. And I kind of think that's neat the way music can do that.
Oh, yeah. You know, usually, like, even when I play with my band, you know, I go to the crowd, they say, you got a set list? I said, nope. I said, what are you going to play? I said, don't worry. And usually I look at the crowd, you see, and I try to play what I think the crowd will like, you know. You know, if I got a bunch of people that look like cowboys, you know, then I'll make sure I stick to something close to that from that era, you know.
Well, now, I asked another musician this question once, someone who played in Davis, but I think this would apply anyway. And I asked him if he had like a a gateway song. And what I meant by that was a song that if he played it, he could kind of tell where the crowd was.
Right.
And I think for him, it was like if he played something with a little bit of a reggae beat to it.
You're right, yeah.
And he'd watch the crowd. And if the crowd was kind of like starting to move a little bit in their chairs, tap their feet, then he'd think, okay, they want to hear music that's maybe more. But if it just left them, if they just sat there, if the beat didn't pull them forward, then he thought, well, I got to play something else then.
For example, if you go to Memphis, and you play something like Carl Perkins and Elvis Presley, something like that, then you in. They're going to follow you all over the town, So
yeah, of course, they were native musicians.
Yeah, right. Because it's that Memphis style. Like one guy came up to me, he said, "Man, you really got that Memphis down," I didn't think so, but
So he thought you had the Memphis.
Yeah,
down.
he thought I had the Memphis style down.
All right. Well, tell me about your dobro. This is what I saw you playing several weeks ago.
Yeah, well, I used to drive a taxi cab, and I was driving a taxi cab, and I went by this guitar showcase, and
that's a shop in Sacramento.
That's in San Jose.
San Jose.
Basketball Avenue, yeah. And so they had this guitar in the window, and for sale for $500. And so I had $150 on me, and I gave them $150. I said, well, I'll be back for the weekend, and they came and got it because I had other acoustic guitars, but I always wanted a dobro. And once I got the dobro, then I said, well, this is pretty much only acoustic guitars I need from now on, because no other guitar sounds like these guitars. Plus they're rugged, and they just got a good tone, got a good feel, once you get them down,
Can you play us a little bit something on it that sort of shows us what the dobro can do?
Grooving time. That's what my baby told me. Grooving time. That's what my baby told me. She said, if you can't do it right, Mikey boy, you might as well let me be. Say she don't want me hang around funky Broadway. Don't want me hang around those funky nightclubs now. Grooving time. That's what my baby told me. Well, if you can't do it right, Mikey boy, you might as well let me be.
So that's the dobro.
Yeah, that's the dobro. Yeah, the National Steel. This one is what is known as a spider, and they got the ones they call a biscuit, which has got a little round thing in it that the strings sit on, And this one is from pretty much close to 1937. Well, it has a 7 for the end, 184 made.
And so what you're showing me is the very top of the guitar.
On the headstock, yeah.
And there's a number up there, you're saying.
Yeah, right, yeah. And that makes it was 184 of them made,
And I think you were telling me at one point, these are like electric guitars before they were electric guitars. Because they amplify.
See, back in old days, they never had electricity. So they needed a guitar that would get over the volume, of the people talking and laughing and doing all stuff like that. And dobro did a good job of that, And these guitars were made by a guy named the Dobro Brothers, Rudy Dobro. And that's why they just shorten the name and call it dobro, which means good in Yugoslavic,
Means good in Yugoslavic?
Yeah, right,
I had no idea.
They were Yugoslavia, yeah.
And it's all steel except
all steel, yeah, all except for the neck,
Yeah. And I was looking at the neck. It looks pretty. This instrument's been played a lot.
It's been played a lot, and it's been broke the headstock once. Took it out of the back of the car, it fell out of the case, the concrete wham. So then I fixed it back. We had it glued, fixed back, so didn't affect the playing though.
So it's a pretty durable thing as well.
Oh yeah, it's durable guitar, yeah.
So we're talking with Guitar Mac McNally. This is Davisville on KDRT. I'm Bill Buchanan. So, when people don't listen to the blues for whatever reason, they haven't discovered it. What are they missing?
I think they miss it most of their life.
Well,
the good things to life, but really, blues. If it wasn't for blues, there wouldn't be any jazz, and even hardly any beat music today, if it wasn't for the blues, because the blues is the foundation of all roots music, and
well, yeah, a lot of music comes out of the blues, right?
Yeah, right.
Rock and roll.
Rock and roll. Yeah, see, first it was blues, then it was gospel, and then it was jazz and something like that, and then of course field hollers, which was still pretty much in the blues vein, and stuff like that, so.
You've been part of the Sacramento Blues Society?
Yes, right. I was with Sacramento. I'm still a member, but I'm just not on the board anymore, but yeah, because I've been with Sacramento Blues Society ever since pretty much Phil Gavant, he passed away. Yeah. He pretty much started it, and I was on the board for a while, and
well,
and how it goes,
Yeah, well, that's right. It's like any organization, I'm sure. You relies on volunteers. One of the things the Blues Society wants to do is to, kind of promote the blues, educate people about the blues.
Right, that's what the Blues Society is supposed to be about, like blues in schools and stuff like that.
Yeah, so how do you do that? How do you get someone interested in the blues?
Well, they have a blues in school right now, but I have different ideas myself, which everybody do, and so that's generally what happens. The reason that you get off the board because you can't get your ideas together, because even blues in the schools, I started that way back in the day. It was me and Midnight Cowboy and Gene Chambers and a couple other people that was doing the blues in the school, but then later on, that phased out. I think it was 1990 or something like 99 or something like that.
Well, yeah.
And then that phased out, and then some more people came and started doing it, but then, to me, they leaning more towards rock, which shouldn't be that way. But,
you're the Blues Society.
Yeah, right, yeah.
and the whole idea was you'd go out and you'd play for students, right?
Right. I would pick up local musicians, the ones that really knew what they was doing, and then we'd bring in people like that to teach the young kids,
and
where the blues came from,
So I'm thinking, you said you picked it up yourself because that's the music you heard.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So I guess that's part of the idea, right? Is get the music out there, let kids hear it.
Yeah, let them hear it and tell them where it came from and why it started, and tell them what songs mean, what they mean, And see, listening to the blues is almost like reading the Bible. And some people read the Bible and they still don't understand what it's saying, and what it's about,
Well, and the blues as, music, I guess, I don't want to sound too highfalutin here, but music is an emotional language.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And so it can kind of speak.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
And tone. And like Muddy Waters said, too, you can play guitar all you want, and you can sing the blues or whatever. If you ain't got the tone, it ain't the blues. The tone has to feel, and the tone has to be there, And
the tone. And so how do you get that tone?
It's like a fingerprint, something that you build with inside of you, because 10 different guys can pick up this guitar and play it, and all 10 of them will sound different on the same guitar because it's the feel that they have.
Would they all be the blues? All those 10?
Yeah, they could all be the blues. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
But part of
they
it
just got a different tone and different feel,
And that feel, I imagine, is pretty important, right?
Yeah, important. Yeah, because B.B. King, he had what called a trill. He would just shake his finger side to side, And then some guys like me, we got the slide guitar, and he would get the same effect from his trill that you would get from the slide, and like he'd slide up and he'd go, like that.
So this is all the individual sort of.
That's all the individual techniques,
You've got another song on this CD I want to play part of. It's called Prozac, and the song credit is traditional. And I got to thinking as I looked at it, I thought, the blues are moving pretty fast.
Right.
If there's a song about Prozac that's already traditional.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's hear a little bit of this here.
Because I'm the Delta man.
This is you singing again.
Right. Scat.
If you're gonna go crazy, might as well do it in style. Yeah, if you're gonna go crazy, you might as well do it in style. Hop in a Bellevue caddy, let's drive a while. Put a bar in your car. Drive yourself to drinking. Yeah, put a bar in your car, head down. Drive yourself to drinking. You just 12 steps away from A, AAA, X-ray rating. So relax. You are in the Prozac generation. Relax. Take your medications, you know. Just relax. You are in the mood.
Yeah, that's some pretty clever writing there, I think. It seems very contemporary.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it is kind of like a scat time. That's what it's called at the time. Is, it's like a,
that kind of
the drum beat is like a scat, and a lot of jazz guys did scat playing, and stuff like that, But
so who's playing with you in your band?
Grant Urias and Ronnie Stewart, and the drummer. I
don't mean to put you on the spot here.
Tom Winery. What is on the list? The names are listed on there.
Yeah, which of course. But now, were you playing? Are you playing on that song, or is it
no? I'm just the vocals on that.
Okay, so it's a real band effort on.
Yeah, it's a band effort. Yeah, right. Yeah.
I wanted to ask why there's a lot. It seems like there's a lot of good music that doesn't catch on. Like, I don't know. I would think it might, just because you'd think something's really good. People hear it. It's kind of catchy. And I've wondered if this is one of the risks maybe, or just the conditions of being in Sacramento. And I used to work at the Sacramento Business Journal, and the editor there was a really good writer. And I've often thought, if he was in New York, his work might have gotten greater attention. So, maybe that's one of the conditions that come from being in a place like here, which, as much as we may love the area, it's not a cultural capital, certainly not like Memphis is or New York or whatever. I don't know.
Bakersfield.
Yeah. I mean, you work here. What do you think?
Yeah, right. Well, actually, I think it's the matter of, having enough money to promotions, because like if you're running for president, you don't have they have to buy all these spots, I mean, you just got to flood the street, even if the song was no good. They just make sure they just pay all this money and just have it advertised here, advertised there, and you hear it everywhere you go. And you see it on billboards, on signs, because people paying for these spots. So it's all about advertisement and stuff like that. And usually a guy like me, I don't have the money, and I don't have a big record company that actually does that stuff there,
well, that's part of it. Is, I mean, you read about people who get lucky. There's just someone in the crowd who hears at the right time, or it's like, well, you got to have talent, obviously, but beyond talent, it seems like luck. I don't know, persistence. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, and like, for example, a lot of the big companies, record companies, what they'll do is they'll cut 5,000 copies. They'll throw them in the garbage, and then they'll say, "Oh, this kid just sold 5,000 copies,"
Oh, in other words, they didn't really sell 5,000.
They didn't really sell them, because that's why you see them at cutout bins, places like Goodwill and stuff like that, It's amazing how they do. Well, we know the tricks, but then and then they'll turn around and do another 5,000, and then that bunch will sell because they already sold got rid of those first 5,000. It's all a gimmick, advertisement. Commercial gimmick, is what they usually, so.
Yeah, well, you seem to have a real upbeat attitude. You've been playing music a long time. You would have seen a lot of games and stuff, I suppose, over the years.
Oh, yeah, believe me, I've seen them. And I know what's happening, too, but then people, they tell me, "Man, you're too easy. You should have said something." I said, "Well."
Well, but the playing's the thing, I imagine.
Yeah, the playing, the most important thing is the playing thing, stuff like that. And like, I just do what I can do, and I want to live a long time. I don't want to die before my time, because of the stress and everything else, So, that's why I don't run out here and try to get a gig every night, which I could do that. But man, that's wear and tear on your body and everything else, you know.
Yeah. Do you play mostly in this area? You said earlier you go to Alabama.
Yeah. I play in this area. Well, I play at Davisville out there, you know, like we have a gig coming up on the 4th out there at a little club called River's Edge, you know, and we do that one, you know, and then we're doing the Vacaville Blues Festival on July the 2nd, and also doing Ville Blues Festival on July the 4th.
Okay.
And we're doing it on July the 8th and 9th during the Blues Festival in Hayward, Russell City Blues Festival.
Do you have like a website or something where people can track?
Yes, I have just GTRMAC.com, you know. Guitar Mac.
GuitarMac.com.
Right. Uh-huh.
So people can go there and they can see, you know, your music or
yeah, right. They
they
can go right from that. Yeah, GTRMAC.com. It used to be straight GuitarMac.com, but somehow that site I had that went weird, and I had to do a new site. You know, I had to get a new domain name.
All right. Well, we've been talking with Guitar Mac McNally here on Davisville, and we're going to ask you to play out a song here. But before you start, I just want to say thank you very much for coming by and sharing your music.
You're welcome. Yes.
So, what song are you going to play?
I don't know. We'll start off something like this here. Well, it's good time here, but it's better on down the road. Well, it's good time here, but it's better on down the road. Well, I've been here a little while, but I believe I gotta move on down. Yes. Blues power.
Well, thank you.
All righty. Okay. Yeah, I'll do something in up tempo. It's like if I had the whole band, but I didn't. But the other parts was missing. But
Well, that's a nice way to end.
Okay, Bill. Yes.
All right.